Sarcastically Explained, ReZero Season 2 Part 2. We pick up right where we left off. Subaru's at his wit's end and he has no idea what to do to overcome this impossible situation that Roswell set up. But then Best Boy Otto smacks some sense into him by telling him, hey, this is an anime, and through the power and love and friendship, they can prevail over anything. And so he resolves to beat Roswell at his own game. Basically, if Subaru wins, Roswell gives up his tome. If Subaru loses, he then needs to follow the tome to the letter. And so Subaru sets up his side of the board and makes his play. Otto and Rom will take care of Garfield, while Puck and Subaru support Amelia through the trial. And by support, I mean really just make her realize she can stand on her own 2 feet and recognize her own self-worth. That is some good support. The fight's on, and Otto's surprisingly holding his own pretty well. Turns out the boy can talk to animals. Otto sue in for next Disney princess, please? Anyone? Oh, and Rom's also there or something. And while these three fight for their lives, Subaru confesses to Amelia. Someone has a harder job there. Can't be that easy, this is an anime. There's gonna be a misunderstanding and they're gonna die. Oh, well that is a welcome change. Also, the one good time to not dodge. Sarcastic remarks aside, I know that we are Rem stands over here at CCE, but this moment was actually really sweet because I was waiting 5 long years for this payoff. A lot has changed in that time. But we don't got time for that. Because, this being an anime, Subaru and Garfield lock in for their final confrontation. Subaru uses his quirk in a new and never before seen way to smash Garfield. And by video game rules, because Subaru has beaten him, he unlocks Garfield as a member of the party, allowing us to have moments of Subaru with the boys. Perfection. We then get Garfield's backstory and it's honestly kinda tragic. TLDR, he thinks that his mom left him and his sister for the outside world, so he deeply mistrusts it. It's now that Amelia decides to embark on the trial of the sanctuary, and oh boy, is Echidna ever salty about that confession scene, because, let's face it, she's obviously jealous as fuck. And if there's any doubt in your mind as to whether or not ReZero's gone full harem or not, well, yeah, this should about do it. But salty Echidna or not, Amelia remains undeterred, and we then finally get to see Amelia and Echidna's backstories. We'll do Amelia's first because it is the one that's more overdue. Okay, now first things first, aww. I'm sorry, but small Amelia is absolutely precious and must be protected. We learned that Amelia was raised by her Aunt Fortuna in the forest with the other elves, and she's under lockdown because she's actually the witch's daughter and holds the key to the seal. What's beyond the seal? Well, don't really know yet. No spoilers in the comment section, please. I don't know why, but whenever someone reads the manga or light novel first, their first inclination is to accidentally spoil stuff for people. Oh, and Betelgeuse is sane. Wait, what? Goose, what happened, man? We actually get some pretty sweet moments with him, Fortuna, and Amelia. As for what happened to Goose, well, remember this dude from the first core? Well, yeah, that's the Archbishop of the Witch of Greed, Regulus, and that's Pandora. They want the key and the seal to do something very nefarious. Now, obviously, Fortuna and Goose aren't about to let that happen, so they fight them to the death together. And then we find out why Goose got mentally fucked up so bad. Yeah, that would about do that to anyone, really. And also, this is enough to push Amelia over the edge and make her freeze everything over. Alright, and I guess we should go through Echidna's backstory because she is in the running for best girl this season. Basically, Roswell's a huge Echidna simp, I don't blame him, and they're living in the sanctuary peacefully with Ryuzu and Beatrice. Yes, that Beatrice. And basically everything went wrong when the bad man came and Ryuzu is forced to be a sacrifice to get the barrier up and running. Oh, and Echidna's face is hidden for some reason. More on that later. Back in the present, as usual, peace talks have broken down, and the gang has no choice but to mount an all-out attack against Elsa at the manor. Rule 1, never negotiate with terrorists or extremely flamboyant Dio. Also, if someone resorts to the "we're not so different, you and I" speech, you know one of two things. 1, well, obviously they're a villain, and 2, they got some pretty shitty grammar because they are the object of that sentence, so it should go, "we're not so different, you and me." While the lads go mount their offensive, Amelia's there to hold down the fort with Rom, and she takes on the next trial, but not before Rom makes a heartfelt plea to Amelia to save Roswell from symptom, which Roswell overhears and then challenges Rom to a duel. To the death. In the second trial, Echidna shows Amelia the present that could never be. And I'm guessing Amelia was supposed to break down here, but since she's broken away from the pack in the race for best girl, well, that just ain't affecting her. Which gets Echidna real salty. Like damn, Amelia destroyed her with smiles and kindness. But of course, there's one more trial, which was honestly kinda trivial in the grand scheme of things. It's the disaster that's yet to come, which Amelia just kinda shrugs off and takes in stride. Echidna then gets so super salty that she can't even show her damn face to Amelia. Instead, we get Minerva, who is obviously the better Minerva this anime season. Sorry, not f***ing sorry, promised Neverland. Emilia then gets back and sees a kitten's body. Only it's not a kitten. Or is it? Okay, but really here's my take on it. The version we saw in the trials, that's her ideal self, so she's a very kawaii anime waifu, but the real her is more of a realistic representation, obviously. But anywho, turns out the Snowpocalypse has not been cancelled. And that's kind of it for Emilia for now. Meanwhile, Garfield's desperately trying to not get Ada-Ada'd by Elsa because, you know, that kind of means disembowelment in this scenario. Frickin' yanderes, man. Also, Subaru remembers that he and Senku share a voice actor, so he tries to unleash a weapon of the Kingdom of Science. Only, Subaru is basically a high school dropout, whereas Senku's a mad genius, so it doesn't work. Oops. Otto and Petra have the correct idea of killing with fire, but the only problem with this plan? Early French Renaissance style buildings are super f***ing flammable. I don't know if that's the correct period, please don't at me. And so everyone gets out of the house on fire, except for Beatrice. Subaru, because he's high enough level now, persuades her to join the party. Oh, and also through the power of friendship and shaping one's own destiny and whatnot, but you know. And that's mission accomplished. Oh, remember Rem? Yeah, me too. Here she is. And she's still asleep. Please wake up.
Oh dear, I've been asleep for an awfully long time. I'll wake up soon and see my darling Subaru any minute now. Right? Right? Right?
You ever get that feeling that things are just going a little too well? Like it's been a solid few episodes since Subaru's died. But there's no time for that because Rosewall's fighting Rom, and Rom confesses to Rosewall, which goes about as well as you'd think. Actually ends a little worse. But surprise, surprise, Puck and Rom have destroyed the tome. And so Rosewall loses his reason to live. Oof. Oh, and because the Snowpocalypse has not been cancelled, the bunnies have returned. Emilia does her best, but it's looking pretty hopeless until Beatrice basically TPs them into the situation and sends them all to the Shadow Realm. This show is actually insane. And so the day is saved thanks to friendship, teamwork, and determination. Also, Emilia's pregnant. Huh? Oh, come on, Emilia. Everyone knows that babies are made when two people love each other very much and hold hands. Honestly, this reminds me of that one scene from Clannad, like the stork, the cabbage patch, and, well, I guess Nagisa actually knew what sex was. But don't let Emilia's stunning lack of sex education distract you from the fact that she was fully ready and committed to have a kid with Subaru. And so everyone makes amends with Rosewall, and by make amends, I mean they get a few free hits in. Even Petra gets some. Turns out the bet that he and Subaru had was literally to the death, but looks like everyone's all on board for Team Emilia now. And Subaru's at the helm, and he swears his oath to the knight, and they live happily ever after for once. So, Rem's gonna wake up, right? She's gonna see Subaru become a knight and everything, right?
No, because he loves Emilia!
Maybe next season. And thus ends ReZero Season 2. Honestly, all snark aside, it was really nice that the show came back, and I'm honestly even more amazed that White Fox was able to consistently pump out 30-minute episodes, even opting to forgo the OP and ED in a lot of instances. Now we just hope it won't be another 4 years before we see another season. Thanks for watching. Well, Kelly, looks like we just about threw away every perp in this city.
Yep. Robbery, murder, tax fraud. Tax fraud while murdering.
Yep, good. Oh, looks like we missed one. Who do we have here?
Oh yeah, No Subs McGee. He's one on several friendly accounts of watching videos and not liking, not commenting, and not subscribing.
Not turning notifications or checking out the links below. By God.
Let's book him.